Welcome into another LL Sports Update show. He is Jeff Reinhart. I'm John Walk. Another jam-packed show. It seems like we're going to be hitting on all three seasons, fall, winter, spring sports news throughout. We're going to lead with boys tennis. What's going on there?
Boys tennis. The first LL championship of the spring has been contested. So gold medals and trophies were handed out already in boys tennis. Congrats, Hempfield. Black Knights, fourth LL title in a row. Team title. Coach Mindy Bell and the Black Knights win. They beat Manheim Township 3-0. They played last week. They had a makeup from a weather delay or something. And so they played again. They turned around and played again right away. They had the semifinals, I think Monday afternoon. Hempfield beat Pequay Valley, Manheim Township beat Cocalico, and then they turned around, got on the bus, and went over and played the finals the same day because of all the weather issues. So Hempfield wins it 3-0. Black Knights win. So they only needed 3 victories to clinch it. Here's who won. Number 2 singles, Ben Cook wins, beats Carson Schreiber 6-4, 6-1. Number 3 singles, Rishi Pandey from Hempfield beats Max Pan 6-4, 6-4. And number 1 doubles, fun names from Hempfield, Nishant Balapur and Adit Parikh win. They beat Tom Waratilla and TJ Cade 6-3, 6-2. So needed 3 wins to wrap it up. They got the 3 wins. Number 1 doubles, number 2 singles, and number 3 singles. Win it for Hempfield. 4th LL League championship in a row for the Black Knights on the tennis courts. That's great. So coming up next will be, I guess, the individual, singles, doubles, LL. They'll go on to districts and states and all that fun stuff. So we will continue to track LL tennis moving forward. Okay, let's switch gears. Some kind of sad news from LL boys basketball this week. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Coach Powell, Steve Powell, McCaskey boys basketball coach. He's been involved with the program since 1972. Took over as head coach in the early 1990s. He's been head coach better part of the last quarter century for the Red Tornado. Well, he finally retired from that position after so many years. I grew up watching him, man. Dustin Salisbury and Perry Patterson and all those guys. My dad's a McCaskey grad, so me as a kid loving basketball, we went to what seemingly every game. So it means a lot to me to be able to come here and at least cover the end of his career. But Coach Powell's been unable to speak these last few seasons. He's been battling some health complications due to a bout with oral cancer that's kind of been on again, off again. So he retired this week as a McCaskey boys basketball coach. I wanted to kind of go back a little bit. He's been involved in basketball in some capacity for a half a century. He was part of the 1966-67 Chester High boys basketball team that was the state runner-up. Went on to play at Millersville University, where I was reading that's where he picked up the nickname Bird because he had this unusually long wingspan. I think he was only 5'10", 5'11", but he was a heck of a player, so much so he was later inducted into the Halls of Fame, Athletic Halls of Fame at both Chester High and Millersville University. He joins the McCaskey staff in 1972 when Pete Horn was the head coach, later takes over for Coach Horn. And over the course of his 26 seasons, McCaskey went 468 and 245 overall. It's a 656 winning percentage. Nice. In 13 of those 26 seasons, the Red Tornado won 20 or more games. Wow. 11 section titles, 9 league championships, 2 District 3 crowns, and a run of guys who went on to play at college that he produced there. Not only that, off the court, just about as equally of a good guy.
Fantastic
just
person.
Learned over these last couple weeks, just as far as the behind-the-scenes stuff that Coach Powell did. Among them being, he made sure every player each season had a pair of sneakers and warm-ups. Like, let's say if the school allotted a certain budget for the basketball team, they meet it, and they still need this equipment for his players. Coach Powell oftentimes he'd get it out of his own pocket, and then they'd have these long road trips. Let's say they go play in Philadelphia in the regular season. Made sure to stop and feed the whole team. You're talking 24 players, 4 or 5 coaches, and he paid out of his own pocket for that. And oftentimes, sometimes he would have former players come back looking for employment, and he would help them find a job. So just a great guy, as equally as a good coach. So congratulations to Coach Powell, and incredible career. I don't know if you want to chime in there.
3 things. Number 1, his sweaters. His sweaters were great. You know, like Carnesecca at St. John's, he was known for his sweaters. Bird was impeccably dressed on the bench. He always looked great. Number 2, I didn't learn this until later on in his career, big tennis fan. Like, he would go to the U.S. Open every year up in New York and watch tennis. Big tennis fan. And my favorite Bird Powell story, they played at Chester one year. and I went and covered it, and it was a tough loss. And I'm on deadline, and I need to write, I need to interview Bird, and he was in the locker room with the kids. No kidding. It must have been 45 minutes to an hour, because it was a tough loss at Chester, at his school. And they were in that locker room for almost an hour. And I was there, and another reporter or two was there, because it was a huge game at the time. Salisbury might have been there. Chester, McCaskey, big
Which
game.
for us being on deadline,
not
getting
easy.
A story in, waiting an hour for a
it
team
was
is a
tough,
lot.
and I'm on the road, and I waited for Bird. It was at least 45 minutes, and he came out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were waiting for me." I said, "Yeah." So, fabulous guy. He will definitely be missed at McCaskey.
Yeah, and while we're talking about basketball, we might as well move on to girls basketball.
Yes.
You have some news there. What's going on?
Yeah, a lot going on. The girls basketball Pennsylvania sports writers all-state teams, that's a mouthful, came out this week. 3 LL kids were honored. 2 players of the year. How about that?
Wow.
Two of the 6 players of the year in the state came out of Section 3 LL League. How about that? Kiki Jefferson, Lancaster Catholic, 32-0, state champs. 1,800 plus points already. Number 1 in program history as a junior, and I didn't realize that till after the season. She's already number 9 in LL history in scoring as a junior.
Wonder what the state mark is.
343,
I'm
probably
sure
3,000. I'll find it
right.
somewhere. But yeah, she's already at 1,800 plus, number 9 all time in the league already as a junior. So Kiki Jefferson, first team All-State 4A Player of the Year. Last week, Kiki Jefferson earned USA Today Pennsylvania Player of the Year, regardless of any class, any player, any position, any grade. So what a 2 weeks for Miss Jefferson. USA Today Player of the Year for Pennsylvania, and 4A Player of the Year, Sports Writers, PA, Class 4A. Alexis Hill, Lebanon Catholic, back-to-back, this is neat, back-to-back 1A Player of the Year for Alexis Hill at Lebanon Catholic. That's impressive. Last season, helped the Beavers win the state title. This season, helps the Beavers win their 4th district championship in a row and get back to the state semifinals. Tough loss to Jenkintown there. But Alexis Hill, Northeastern University recruit. I'm a grad, I'm an alum. Good luck, Alexis, in Boston. Have fun. Back-to-back 1A Player of the Year. The 3rd LL kid who made All-State, Peckway Valley, sophomore, Summer Reeser. Got a chance to write about her this winter. Fantastic catch-and-shoot kid. Has one of the prettiest jump shots you've ever seen. 75 threes as a freshman, 80 threes and 18 points a game this year as a sophomore, and she's only going to get better. Does the AAU circuit in Philly, dynamite player. Summer Reeser, 3rd team as a sophomore, AAA. So Kiki Jefferson, Alexis Hill, Summer Reeser, all get all-state honors. Congrats, ladies.
All right, now back on to spring sports we go. We throw it to LNP's Tim Gurris as he drops by. We also have a feature on the McCaskey track team. Throw it to Tim.
Believe it or not, the track and field season is hitting the home stretch. There's only 2 weeks of dual meets left. So let's get into some of the team standings. Big Section 2 meet was this week, this past Monday. The Effeter girls defeated Manheim Central 114-36. Both teams were undefeated going into it. Effeter got some big performances from Faith Hirschberger in the jumps, and Jenny Young, she's been a solid 4-year contributor to the Mountaineers. She picked up some big points in the sprints. E-Town, the girls, are also undefeated in Section 2. So if things shape out next week, we'll have a big showdown between Ephrata and E-Town on May 7th. So mark that one on your calendars. Elsewhere on the girls' standings, the Warwick girls and Elko girls, they're rolling in Sections 1 and 3. Warwick's undefeated. They beat Penn this past week. Elko's still undefeated. They're closing in on a section title of their own. On the boys' side, McCaskey and Manheim Township, they're both undefeated, and they're going to be facing off on Monday in Manheim Township. That's a big meet. We'll have some interviews from that later. McCaskey, they're undefeated, like I said. Their sprints have been really good. They won 2 sprints at the Westchester Henderson Invitational on Friday. Also in the boys' standings, Cocalico, they're still undefeated. They defeated LS 95-55. They're still in first place in Section 2. Jake Musselman and Evan Kreider came up with some big ones for the Eagles on Monday. And Donegal's undefeated in Section 3, so they're closing in on their 2nd straight Section 3 title. Individually, LL League athletes headed to the Shippensburg Invitational on Saturday. Got some big performances from the Ephrata boys. They won the 4x800 meter relay. The Hempfield girls won the 4x100 meter relay. mentioned the effort of boys relay team. Tyler Shue was the leadoff leg of that relay. He also won the boys 800-meter run in 1:55.17. That's an effort of school record. Some other victories at the Shippensburg Invite. Taraji Whitfield, he won the 110-meter hurdles and 300-meter hurdles. He's a Penn Manor kid. He has some postseason aspirations too. He also ran the 200-meter run, or 200-meter dash, and he was the anchor leg of the Comets 4x400-meter relay team that finished second. In Double-A at the Shippensburg Invitational, Stanley Miller of Annville Cleona, he got a big long jump, 22.2 1/4. That was good for first place in the Double-A long jump. And Zach Steffen, a Lancaster Mennonite sprinter. He took a year off, he came back, and he won the Shippensburg Invitational's 400-meter dash. And he is joining a growing field in the Owl League in the 400-meter dash. That's a big one to watch for as we head to the postseason. Lots of boys are really shrinking their times lately. We got Chad Mowbray from Penn Manor, Connor Shields from Warwick. They ran against each other in the 400 this week. And Zach Steffen, of course, and Jamel Henry from McCaskey. He's really cutting his time down too. So those are some guys to watch as we go into the postseason. Coming up this week, we have the Penn Relays. I'll be in Philadelphia providing some updates there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And also the Cy Fritz Open in Millersville. That's another big invitational. Lots of good times and distances. So keep an eye on that one. There should be some PRs, some big performances on that side. That's all for me. I'm Tim Gross. Irene Snyder, we talked about the big Manheim Township McCaskey matchup coming up. Irene was at McCaskey practice the other day. She caught up with McCaskey sprinters Jamel Henry and Anthony DeLeon and Coach Derek Jennings. So take it away, Irene.
You have a big meet coming up on Monday against Manheim Township. They're undefeated and you're undefeated, and this could decide the section title, correct? So how do you feel about that meet?
Yeah, Manheim Township's always very difficult. They're well coached. They've got some tremendous athletes, several people in the honor roll, several people with top marks around the league. And then it's at Manheim Township, which we were up there 2 years ago, and it came down to the last race or two. So we know it's going to be a challenge. We know they're going to be well coached. We know they're what they have, and they know what we have at this point in the year because it's late. We're the only undefeated teams in Section 1. So it's going to be a battle. I think it'll come down to inches, it'll come down to seconds, and maybe even closer than that. So we'll see what happens.
Ever since 7th grade, it's been a close meet with Manheim Township. So I'm looking forward to racing them, and I know it's going to be close. They got a well-coached team, and I know we have a well-coached team, and it's going to come down to probably the last two events.
What do you think your keys are to success so far this season?
I think our keys are pretty much teamwork and everything. Like, we're always joking around, so it's like as long as we're not on bad terms, we're keeping everything good, then we're just doing great. We think of each other as competition ourselves, so it's like as long as we're trying to outshine each other, then it's like we keep pushing each other to go harder and go stronger.
And what are your expectations then for the rest of the season?
Well, we have a big meet Monday. We have some invitationals come up. We have the league and district championships. So, we just want to keep getting better at this point of the year. Oftentimes you'll get to a point and you'll just kind of top off. So our goal is to keep getting better as the year progresses. And we have the coaching staff. I took over last year as the head coach, and I've been blessed with, I think, the best coaching staff in the Lancaster-Lebanon League. Hall of Famers all around. And not just Hall of Fame athletes, but I believe Hall of Fame coaches. I think it starts there. And, so we're built for this. We're built for the end of the season, and we're gonna keep getting better.
All right, thanks to Tim and Irene. Red Tornado looking good on the track so far this spring. All right, on to volleyball, an indoor spring sport. Yes. What's going on there?
There's a lot going on in volleyball. Like 2 weeks to go here before the playoffs, so everything's kind of taking shape. Section races are looking good. Here we go. Section 1, Hempfield still out front. Black Knights are playing really well. 7-0, 2-game lead. Gets a little crazy after them. But real quick, Hempfield, number 2 in the state in AAA. Last weekend they were in the Kohler Classic over in York, which is a big volleyball tournament. Yep. A lot of teams from around the state are in it. It's always a great test. Hempfield gets to the semifinals, loses to Cumberland Valley, another really good District 3 team that they could see in a month when districts roll around. So Hempfield gets to the Final Four, loses to Cumberland Valley. Cumberland Valley then loses to Northeastern York, five-time AA state champ in a row. They're fabulous. Northeastern has now won the Kohler and the Bobcat Invitational, which are the two big, really good in-season tournaments over in York. But a great showing for Hempfield. So they're out front in the driver's seat, up 2 with a couple of weeks to go. After that, it gets really, really crazy. Warwick and McCaskey both have 5 wins, so they would be in second. McCaskey with 3 losses, Warwick with 2 losses. Warriors actually have a makeup match this week on Friday against Manheim Township. They had a scheduling conflict a month ago, so they're going to play on Friday. That turns out to be a big match. Thursday's big match, Conestoga Valley against Warwick. Circle that one. Friday, Township against Warwick. We'll see where the Warriors are there. CV still right in this. They're at 4-4. Penn Manor had a really tough loss against McCaskey last week, and I got to cover that. That kind of knocked the Comets down another peg. They're kind of a long shot at this point. And Manheim Township, the defending league champ, is just 2-4 with a makeup on Friday against Warwick. Wanted to mention McCaskey. Love the name, love the kid. OJ Cham Cham is a terrific player for McCaskey in the middle. He's got to be 6'4", 6'5", very menacing, kind of skinny, but he can really play in the middle, and he just was fantastic in the match against Penn Manor last week. OJ Cham Cham, great player in the middle. McCaskey has been really good this season. 5 wins, right in it. Everybody's still chasing Hempfield. Okay, Section 2, got a chance to see Manheim Central. Big week for the Barons. I saw them on Tuesday. Good win against Cocalico. Actually trailed 16-9 in the second set. Came back and won. Barons are 8-0. Number 2 in the state behind Northeastern in AA. Number 2 in the district rankings behind Northeastern in AA. Lancaster Mennonite alone in second at 7-1. Thursday night, circle it. I will see you at Lancaster Mennonite. Barons at Blazers. That'll be fun. Mennonite will try to tie up Manheim Central in the Section 2 race. I will see you over at Mennonite. Cocalico still in it, alone in third at 5-3. Elizabethtown right now would be the 4 seed. They're at 4-4 at 500. I'd like to see the Bears because they're probably going to get in the LL playoffs, and I have not seen E-Town yet. So I want to make sure I see E-Town here in my travels. The big one there again, Thursday night, Manheim Central at Lancaster Mennonite. First place implications should be fun.
All right, another spring sports, softball and baseball. Again, full swing. If you guys want your softball and baseball updates, follow Dave Byrne for softball, follow Diana Pugliese for LL baseball. That season's in full swing, and they're on top of that all the time. We'll have more updates as we go forward here in the coming weeks. All right, on to lacrosse, another spring sport.
Yeah.
Again, coming down the last 2 weeks of the season, I want to mention a couple highlights of Garden Spot girls, Lancaster Country Day boys, and then we'll get into the standings and a couple games to watch. I was at the Garden Spot girls game last Friday. Traditionally, the Spartans have struggled pretty much since their inception a number of years ago, and they're having this awesome historic season. The record might not reflect it, but they've been playing close with just about everybody. Last Friday, they were down 17-14 in the final minutes, and they scored 5 goals in the final 2:25 for a comeback win, 19-17 over Penn Manor. And it was an awesome game. I was there for it, and Garden Spot got the go-ahead score anyway from Mandy Ryder. One of her teammates shot it, went off the goalie's stick, right back to Mandy, who was standing right in front of the net, and she put it in. That was the go-ahead goal.
Nice.
And then one of her teammates added a topper on top of that, 19-17 final. Then
I heard somebody got gonked in the head in that game.
Yeah. If you look closely, the follow-through or whatever on one of the shots. And that's kind of the nature of the beast in that sport in girls lacrosse. I don't know why they don't wear helmets.
I don't know. Seriously though,
yeah.
For Garden Spot to beat Penn Manor, that's like a signature huge win.
I was going to mention that. First time in program history that Garden Spot beat Penn Manor.
Wow.
And then the Spartans turn around, they beat Conestoga Christian on Monday. So they have back-to-back wins for Garden Spot. Only the second time in program history that they've done that. They're now at 4 wins overall, which matches a program record. Now their schedule the rest of the way is tough, so they're going to have to pull an upset if they want that 5th win, which would be the most in program history. So congrats to Garden Spot on an awesome season. Also wanted to mention Lancaster Country Day, Lancaster Catholic boys. Speaking of historic, the Cougars on Monday beat Warwick. First win for the Cougars over Warwick since 2006.
Wow.
So the LL standings look as follows. On the boys' side, Township, Hempfield, again, are your top 2 teams there. And then we got 4 teams battling out for the other 2 spots for the LL playoffs. Ephrata, Penn Manor, Warwick, and Lancaster Country Day. They're all right there. Girls' side, Manheim Township and Hempfield, again, the top 2 teams there. And it looks like Lancaster Country Day and Lampeter-Strasburg are going to be your other 2 teams. Cocalico could sneak in depending on how things shake out here. And I mentioned that because coming up this Friday, Lancaster Country Day will travel to Township for a girls' game under the lights at 7:30. And then Monday is an awesome schedule of boys and girls lacrosse. On the boys' side, Monday night, Hempfield at Manheim Township, 7:30 under the lights.
Yeah.
Always the big showdown there. I'll be there, so make sure to follow that coverage. Also on Monday, earlier in the day, afternoon, Township girls will be traveling to Hempfield for a 4:15 start. Oh, and by the way, Lampeter-Strasburg girls will be traveling to Lancaster Country Day girls for a 4:15 start. So that's 3 awesome games that could have major playoff implications there. So a lot going on with the lacrosse as we head down the home stretch here in these final couple weeks.
Fun.
All right, to take us out, LNP's Mike Gross dropped by. The Penn State Blue-White game was this past Saturday. So to recap everything Penn State Blue-White game, Mike Gross dropped by. So for Jeff Reinhart, I'm John Walk. We thank you guys for watching. We'll throw out the mic to take us away talking Penn State.
Spring practice is history for Penn State's football program. It ended on Saturday, as it always does, with the blue-white intra-squad scrimmage up at Beaver Stadium. The football game, nobody cares about. The blue beat the white 21-10. The teams are hopelessly stacked, so it's not really about the score or the game itself. But a couple of observations that I think we can make about where Penn State is as they head into the summer and, with the 2018 season down the road. One, Micah Parsons looks like he's very much for real. A very, very highly recruited guy, the biggest recruit of James Franklin's tenure. He's going to be a linebacker, and he's going to be a really good linebacker. He had a good, big impact on the game, just flying around, making plays as advertised, big, fast, strong, tough. He's the real deal. An interesting thing that happened from sort of an X and O standpoint is they went a lot more 2 running back formations on offense. So the role that the sort of H-back had in the offense last year with Mike Gesicki, who is going to be an NFL tight end, that role was kind of taken over a lot of the time by running backs, which probably reflects that they have a problem at tight end. They don't really have any tight end that they believe in. That might be a factor, and that'll be interesting to see going forward because they do have some depth at the running back position. Trace McSorley played a lot and played well, as he almost always has throughout his career. He's going to be Penn State's starting quarterback for the 3rd year. And Michael Mennett, that's another one. Michael Mennett, a kid from Berks County, was a very highly recruited offensive lineman. We've been hearing this winter and this spring that the light bulb has gone off for him. It seems like that might be the case, and Michael Mennett has a good chance, I think, to start at one of the guard spots for Penn State. They still have holes to fill. They still have the linebacker situation still has to get squared away. Defensive tackle, safety, kicker, a lot of that stuff is still to be determined and will be determined in August. But Penn State, I think, made some progress, and the picture got a little clearer this spring. I'm Mike Gross for LancasterOnline.com.